Hi all. In our last lecture, we created all these five entities in our data model. In this lecture, we will be establishing relationship between these relevant entities. So as we can see, communication channel preference entity is a child of person and person product is a child of both person and product entity. Nickname is sitting in isolation because it is a lookup table or reference table. It's not connected to any of the other entities. So we'll go back to Semarchy. And now to create the links or relations between entities, there are two ways in Semarchy. First one would be by right clicking on reference relationships and clicking on add reference. Now here you can manually give the name of the link or relationship, and you can also define your child and parent entity. You can also define whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many relationship. But I prefer the other way where I can see those relationships being created visually just by dragging and dropping, just to be lazy. So the other way would be by clicking on this diagram. So if I right click on these diagrams and click on add diagram, now the other benefit of this approach would be to have the visual way of your data model. So right now we can only see we have got the entities and we can build the reference relationships as well. But to have your data model presented in this way where it actually looks like a data model, you can use your diagram, which we are going to do right now. So first thing, we have to give it a name of customer data model. You can choose any name you want, and you can give a description as well. So this would kind of mock the Irwin or other data modeling tools. So you can see the canvas here. And here we what we'll do is we'll just bring all our entities. So in this palette, you can see we have got few options: add existing entity, add existing reference, or you can add entity or add reference. Basically you can create those here as well. Now what we'll do is we'll click on add existing entity because we have defined all our entities, and we'll simply click here in the open canvas. Now you can see all the entities that we have. Now you can select limited entities that you want to put in this picture, or you can select all. So in my case, I'll select all and then click on OK. Now if you can see, we have got something similar to what other data modeling tools presents. You have got a visual way of presenting all your entities. So we'll just simply try to replicate what we have in our this picture. So what we'll do is we'll get the communication preferences here. We'll get the person product here. So now we have got all our five entities here. Now we do not have any existing reference relationship, so we cannot use add existing reference. If you would have created it by right clicking here and giving every minute details, you could have chosen this option. But I like being lazy, so what I'll do is I'll just click on add reference. And now to have a reference created, you always have to start from child to parent. So in our case, communication channel preference is a child of person. So what we'll do is I'll just simply click on communication channel preference, and then by keeping my left button clicked, I'll just drag to the person entity. And now you can see all these details are populated, so I'm not bothered about filling all these details in. So you can validate, you can change if you want to. We'll stick with the default settings and click on finish. So now we'll do similar things with person product as well. So I'll click on add reference, drag from person product to person, and then stick with the default settings, click on finish, and do the same with product as well. So finish. I'll save the changes. So now we have created all the relationships. Now we have to still tweak one property in communication channel preferences to person entity relationship. So what we can do is we can simply double click on this arrow and it will open the properties page for this link or reference. Now here, if you remember, both these entities are fuzzy matched entities. So there could be rules defined in both, and if one uh, entity, which let's say the parent entity person has merged records, or let's say someone unmerges the record, what would be the impact in communication channel preferences? So that's what we have to define here now. So if we go back to this link, here there are two properties: delete propagation, which is basically saying if a record is deleted in the parent, um, does it has to be propagated to the child tables as well, or whether you can delete the parent without deleting the child. So if you can see in delete propagation, we have got few options: cascade, nullify, and restrict. We'll click on cascade, or basically select cascade, which means that if parent record is deleted from the uh, if a parent record is deleted, the child records has to be deleted as well. And if any of the child record is not being deleted, then the parent record will not be deleted as well. So basically having that consistency. And then split duplicates propagation is again if records are merged or unmerged from the parent, what would be the impact on the child records? So here, if parent records has been unmerged, let's say, then we'll have the reset matching, which means the child records will auto arrange again based on the latest match rules configurations. So it won't stick with the previous way of being merged. So it will recalculate all the match codes, etc. So we'll save the changes. We'll go back to customer data model. And now, based on our last lecture, we'll still have to define the person product entity primary key. So what we can do is we can simply double click on person product and it will take you to all the configuration for that specific entity. Now here, as we have to change the primary key, what we can do is we'll click on this define dropdown and we'll click on alter entity. Now here we will go to next and then select SEMQL. Here we'll click on this edit expression to define the expression for this SEMQL. And what we'll do is we'll click on all, as we will be using calllist function. So we'll use this function, and you can see a description of this function as well, what it does. So it returns the first non-null expression in the expression list. So what we'll do is we'll double click and it will put the expression in this SEMSQL expression. Here, what we have to do is we have to get the foreign key of product, and then we will be concatenating it with an underscore. So this is standard SQL, which we use in our Oracle or SQL Server databases. So we'll concatenate it with an underscore and then FID person. So now we are that's why we were not able to do it in the last lecture, because we haven't defined the relationship. So FID person and FID product came into picture when we defined those relationships, because these are the foreign keys. And then if let's say by any chance these two are null, what we'll do is we'll return a dummy value of ABC123. Now, as you can see, there are no warnings or errors. If I just remove this, let's say, you will see a warning at the top. So right now we do not have any warnings or errors in our SEMQL expression. So we'll just click OK and we'll finish it. We'll save it. So now our primary key for this person product has been defined as well. We have also created one of the main diagrams which represents our data model in a visual way, which looks more appealing. So this covers the data model and relationships. Now we'll talk about the other components which are still related to our data model in our upcoming lectures. Thank you.